Beautiful. So big warm welcome to this week's masterclass. We're going to be covering structure, tension, and choices, which is pretty exciting. Just going to make you host, Joe. Beautiful. Oh, Michael's popped out again. Maybe he's having issues with his internet. So Joe can just keep an eye out and just ensure that anyone that is going to pop in, that we see them in the waiting room and we add them. So today's theme is really about having your structure and tension effectively set up in a way to resolve in favor of what it is that you want. So we want to be in a flowing structure. And because, structure has integrity. Structure has integrity, and there is a way that we can set ourselves up to have a flowing structure. So, I'm seeing a few people, and I know for myself, I've been, have times of, we're all human, right? We have these times of being stuck, like really stuck or in oscillation and getting caught up in our tension. In our tension. So we're going to go into tension. We're going to actually dive a lot deeper into structure and tension today, which I think is going to be really awesome. And so we get caught up in the tension of our choices and what it is that we're going for, but not having our current reality shifting closer to our vision. And there's so much energy and time that has been putting into the things that that don't serve us. Spending a lot of time on the vision of our choices, convincing ourselves that the more that we visualize, the more likely our choices will be created. However, that's not actually the case. It's not actually the case. It's only, the visualizations is only part of creation. We must be willing to take the obvious action. And this is where there can be a little bit of a downfall, that everything's weighed in on the visualization without actually taking the action. And action, as we know, is the highest form of communication to our consciousness. And action really is the only thing that's going to actually shift our current reality towards our desired reality. And would you agree on that? I'd love for you to pop in the chat box. Would you agree on that? That it's actually our action. So our action obviously is, that comes under decisions that we make, focus that we have. Like it's all, it might be tangible action, but it's all action. That's actually what creates. Because in the action that we take, obviously in a way that serves us, right? Because we're always taking some form of action. We're always taking some form of action, but we want to ensure that that action is at the highest and the greatest of good for what it is that we're choosing and wanting to create. And when we think about it, creation is bringing something into being, isn't it? It's creating it, which is really, really cool. And I love thinking about it in that way. When we have our desired reality, when we're creating, we are bringing something into being. Because when we're not that, what are we doing? We're fixing and solving and trying to find solutions for something. It's not creation. It's not creation. So what we want to do is create a flowing structure. Set up a structure and tension to resolve in favor of what it is that you want. So make choices each day in a way that serve you, to allow you to be in flow and more effortlessly create what it is that you want. And so when we're in the creative structure and going for what it is that we want, there is less time and space and energy available for our problem and fixing and solving structure to take over. Right? So if we're in the focus and in the energy of creating, And we're so focused on that, and taking the obvious action and just doing it, even if the resistance comes up, even if the stories come up, but we're just so in it. There is less time and space for the energy to pull us out of it. We just don't have the time to be stuck or in oscillation, because we're in the momentum, this beautiful momentum and flow of creation. And so we're going to dive a little bit deeper into structure, and I think this is a really, hello to everyone that's joining in too, by the way. So good to see you. So good to see you. So this might be a bit of a reminder for everyone. I think that we can never over connect into what actually happens for structure and tension. Like we can't over educate ourselves on it. So this might be a refresher for some. This might be a little bit more learning and education for others. So when we think of structure, because we do talk about it a lot in this work, what is structure? And a structure is a term that refers to a single thing, with parts. So these parts have, an impact upon each other. A structure can look like a body, or a chair, or a song, or a building, anything with individual parts that are working together. So your life building process, so to say, is also a structure. And this structure has 4 parts. It has a current reality, so where you are now. It has a desired reality, so that's your vision of what it is that you're wanting to create. There is an identity, and we talk about identity, and we can show up in different identities. We can show up in an old identity that comes in a way of how we feel incomplete about ourselves. It's coming from the past beliefs and connecting into old beliefs, or there's an identity that where we show up as whole and complete right now. So that's 3 parts, and then we have an action to take. So our life building structure is current reality, desired reality, and identity, and action to take. And so there are 3 different structures that we flow in. So these parts, no matter how you structure your life, that's the parts. This is how we show up or don't show up, in these parts that completely change the outcome of our life and what it is that we create. So there are 3 types of structures. We have structures that are stuck. So imagine like a fence post. It's stuck in the ground. It's not going anywhere at all. It's just like it is there. It is. It is a fence post. We know what a fence post is. Well, if it's been put in the ground properly, it is stuck. It's not going anywhere. We have structures that are oscillating. So that's like a rocking chair. It's like rocking, it's rocking. And then we have structure that is flow. So if you imagine it, if you're quite a visual person, it's like, all these things. If you think of a fence post, a rocking chair, and a wheel, they're all made out of the same material. They can be made out of wood and nails, but they move in different ways. So it's the same for us with those 4 parts. They can be moving in different ways, and that's going to give us a different kind of outcome. And so our structure determines the behavior of the energy, and it has integrity. So please always remember that. Structure has integrity. When you put energy into the structure, it moves in that structure. So if we're going to put energy into a stuck structure, we're going to stay stuck. If we put energy into an oscillating structure, we're going to continue to oscillate. If we put our energy into a flowing structure, we're going to continue to flow. And that is why I wanted to bring this into conversation, because I would love for us all to be in more of a flowing structure. So if you choose a different structure to be in, you would be in a different current reality. So when we think about it, like a person that's holding on to fear or judgment is going to create they're in a different structure. They're going to create a different reality to someone that's not. Someone that is not holding on to that, is going to have like a really flowing, structure. So structure can be broken and put together in all different ways. Okay. So when you are stuck or in oscillation, remember that you're not broken. It's not personal to you as a person. It's the structure that you're in. Okay, so it's not personal to you, it's the structure that you're in. And all choices you make, you'll be in one of those structures. We can't be in two of them at the same time. We're either in, we're just in one. We're just in one. So we have structure. We have structure. And so when we think about it, what creates a structure? When we think about our current reality and a desired reality, that creates a structure. And then it's how we show up in that identity, and then the action that we take. And we might think of it, so even think of the action that we don't take is still action. Procrastination is still an action, right? So then what happens is when we create this structure, we have tension. So we're always going to have tension, some form of tension. And please connect into tension is a good thing. So in order to create, we must have tension. Tension is a good thing. Tension is a good thing. We might find that we want to resist it, and then we create a different kind of outcome. So all structures are held together by this magical force called tension, which pulls things into reality and creates the path. It creates a path, and actually creates a path of least resistance. It's like, oh, I've got this tension, and what the tension wants to do is it always wants to resolve itself. So what we want to do is really learn how to use this tension so that our life will change in a way of what it is that we desire, in a way of it changing to what it is that we would love. So when we think of tension as a force that is created, with this rubber band, inside of any structure, you have structural tension. Structural tension. This is what creates the movement or the lack of movement. So current reality, where we are now, desired reality, where it is that we desire to be. So we create that tension, and it wants to resolve itself. It's always going to want to resolve itself. Always. Always. And so depending on the identity that we show up as, this is where our identity pops up. This is where our psychological tension pops up. This is where our beliefs and everything pop up. And so we have two choices. We have two choices. You can choose to listen and react to, the stories and the feelings and the beliefs that's resolving the tension in favor of your psychological tension. What does that do? It does not bring you to your desired reality. It resolves the tension, and then you stay in your current reality, right? You stay in your current reality. Or there might be this oscillation that you start taking steps towards your desired reality. You're actually feeling the tension pulling from your psychological tension, and then you go back. And then you take action, and then you go back, and you take action, and then you go back. So we have the choice. We either listen to the identity, our old identity that is wanting to hold us back into the past, resulting in you not getting what it is that you want, and life staying exactly the same and the same struggle, your current reality not shifting. Or in that tension, you can choose to simply acknowledge, okay, these beliefs are coming up. I'm not going to give them the power. I'm going to hold my focus on my desired reality in full alignment of what it is that I want to create. And I'm going to hang in that tension. And even though I just want to resolve it by changing my mind or doing something else or convincing myself of other things or not taking the action or whatever comes up in there, telling myself that I'm not worthy, I'm not capable of creating it, and all the stories, we hang in it without trying to resolve it. And we're willing to take the obvious action towards your desired reality, and allow the tension to resolve in favor of what it is that you want. And so when you think about it, which would you prefer? Because if there's going to be tension anyway, and I don't know about you, but I know this about me, if I allow my tension to resolve in favor of how I feel incomplete about myself, in favor of old beliefs, in favor of my past, it doesn't feel good. It might feel good for a minute. You know, people will say, oh, you know, that, yeah, that must have been the right decision because I feel the ease and flow. And it's like, no, you've just resolved the tension. That's all you've done. You've resolved it. So, you know, now you're just going to stay in your current reality. And I know for me, there is no less pain. But when I resolve the tension in favor of all the ways that I feel incomplete about myself, it might feel good for a second, but then it doesn't. Then it doesn't. Because then the stories come. You know, of course I couldn't do it. We know the stories that pop up in our own minds, don't we? We know. And so we have choice. We have choice. When we choose a desired reality, we instantly create tension. And we have choice of what tension we give our energy and our intention and our attention to. See, the tension between, between two or more parts desires to be in equilibrium. If it is not, the movement will occur until the tension is resolved. So we just talked about that. So we want to ensure that the tension is resolved in favor of what it is that we desire. In favor of what it is that we desire. So who can resonate with that? Who can resonate when you go to make a decision to create something that you would like, that you would love, a new business, maybe traveling somewhere, maybe buying a new car, and then the tension comes up, and then you feel that tension, and then the beliefs come and the stories come and the things pop up of why you're not capable of creating it, or why you shouldn't, or why you need to ensure that everyone else is well taken care of before you can go and do that thing. Give me a yes in the chat box. Or am I the only person on the planet that that's ever happened to? Am I the only person? Yeah. So we resolve the tension from a space of our future reality. We will get more into that shortly. So yeah, I love it. I love that it's all coming together. And look, to be honest, again, I'm always very honest when I'm teaching this, that it took me a while when I was first learning to really get the grasp of the whole structure, tension resolving and favor, and identities. It took me a while. So anyone that is new to this, please just go easy on yourself. It might take a little bit for all of these pieces to kind of just beautifully intertwine and really land for you and really land. So we have current reality, desired reality. We have a way that we show up in our identity relative to that. We're either resolving tension in favor of our old identity, or we're resolving in favor of what it is that we desire. Okay, and then we must be taking action. We must be taking action. And action shows up in all sorts of different ways. Decisions that we make. Action is how we focus. Action is what we let go of. Like there's lots of parts of action. Please don't just think that it's tangible action of like very masculine kind of. I'm talking about all of it. I'm talking about all of it. So when we think about structure and tension, and I want to just talk a little bit, to structure. Obviously we can connect with a stuck structure is you're just so stuck. You ain't going anywhere, nothing's happening, you're just in your current reality, and that is just it. But I'd like to speak to you about the oscillating structure, because I really see this is where most humans can be. It's an oscillating structure. is actually, let me just bring up an image to give you a bit of a visual. Let me just come up. Here we go. So oscillating structure, let me just share my screen. Big light bulb, that tension is a choice. Well, so tension, I think we're always, it's how we show up in that tension. So we're always going to have tension. We're always going to have tension, but it's how will you resolve the tension. So yeah, the how you resolve the tension is a choice. It's like, am I going to resolve it in favor of how I feel incomplete and have my current reality stay the same? So that's quite often the path of least resistance. It's easier to be in the pain of the knowing of the now and the maybe lack of finance, maybe the not having the relationship. Like, it's easier to resolve that tension as opposed to holding that tension and allowing, because, you know, there's a lot that can come up in the holding of that tension. You know, there's a lot that can come up in our reality as we hold that tension. Joe, can I get you to put me back to host, because I need to share my screen. So that didn't work so good, did it? I don't think there's a way for us both to be co-hosts. Thank you. That worked. Can I do it? Yay! There we go. There we go. Okay. Let's look at an oscillating structure. An oscillating structure. So if we're in, so think of no money of an identity of, you know, if you're in an identity of lack, right? You're not abundant, you're lack, and you're sitting here in the no money, and you know your desired reality is to be financial abundant. You want to earn money, and what happens is when you show up in an identity that's not worthy, that's not deserving, that's, you know, all the ways that you feel incomplete about yourself, and you have these beliefs, perhaps that money is bad, or it's only selfish people that have money, and they're all just assholes because they drive around in fancy cars and have Louis Vuitton, and you know, you have your own way that you see it, right? And maybe that's passed through generations or whatever, but that's your identity. And when you show up in that identity in your current reality, you have no money, and then you know, your desired reality is to earn money, so you earn money, but your belief is that money is bad, so you end up giving it away, or you waste it, or, you know, you think about all the people that win lotto that end up being broke, and it's because of the identity. It's because of their identity, and so they give it away, and then what happens? They have no money. And so they're in this oscillation. They swing back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. And why is that? It's because the identity in the current reality and the desired reality are not the same. So therefore, if they're not the same, your consciousness literally thinks that it's going to die. So there is no way that you're able to have it. So you get so far, and then you get pulled back, and you get so far and you get pulled back, and you get so far, and you know, you get it. Yeah. And that's where a lot of people live. That's where a lot of people live. Let me stop sharing my screen. So it's like, and I'm going to bring up another visualization, another image. Let me just get it, because here's another way of explaining it. It's this: my current reality is worse than my desired reality. Okay, so it's, as soon as you're in, a life will be better when I have the relationship, the money, the house, the car, the whatever you want to fill in that space. You are in different identities because true, and this is true, even if you have $1 in your bank account, you have a roof over your head, and you can eat bread, you are abundant. And if you want to tell me you're not, well, I'm sorry, I will disagree with you. When you think about the percentage of people in this world, and especially with just going over to Africa and seeing actually what poverty really is, and there's probably poverty worse than that. We are abundant. So if we can show up in an identity of being whole now and knowing that we're abundant and we are it, like we are capable of creating whatever it is that we desire, then our identity is the same now and in the future. And that is where the magic and being in the creative orientation happens. You don't need to go and fix anything from the past or solve anything. It's just being it now. If you ever hear me or anyone else say, be it to see it, that's what it means. Be it now. Choose to be satisfied now. There are lots of things that we can be satisfied now in our life. Okay, so the oscillating structure is the current reality is worse. I'm unsatisfied, I'm frustrated, life is scarce, I'm not enough. And life will be better when, it's like I'm not satisfied now, but when I have this thing or these things are happening, then I'll be satisfied, then I'll be happy, then I'll be abundant, then I'll feel enough. I'll feel enough when I have $1 million in my bank account, then I'll feel capable of creating more. And it's just such BS. BS meaning our belief system, or you can interpret that into any other BS that you like. So our identity will reject the future because to have it, it will mean death by way, of the way it has always been. It's like we've never created that before. That is different to what we, the way we've always been. So, not having it. So we must show up in a way of being it now. We must. We must, we must, we must. So what we want is to be in a structure of flow. So when we consider the 4 points, we're talking about before, current reality, where you are now, your desired reality, your vision of where you desire to be, your identity, and an action to take. Okay? So we be in the same identity now as in your current reality, as in your current reality as that in your future, your desired reality. And it's not like trickery. It's not like saying, I am confident, I am confident, I am no. Right? Or, because if there are things that we're not confident in doing, then, that's just the truth. But there are lots of other things that we're confident in doing, right? Does that make sense? So it's not telling or trying to convince yourself that you're something that you're not. Because our consciousness knows. It's like, this is probably a better way of explaining, because I think I probably made that a little bit confusing, because we are already whole now, right? So it's like, I have $1 million in my bank account. I have $1 million in my bank account. So there's manifestations around that. I have $1 million in my bank account. And your consciousness is like, no, you don't. You actually don't have $1 million in your bank account. That is not true. And so it's not about the being, it's simply visualizing what it is like when you're in, when I have abundance, this is what it looks like, and this is how it feels, and knowing that I'm abundant now because I have the internet, I'm able to eat bread or rice or any other beautiful food that you want to add to that. So we be it now. We must be it to see it. We show up as that person. We show up as whole and complete. We're unattached to anything other than what it is that we would love to create. We're not attaching ourselves to the judgment. We're not attaching ourselves to beliefs that don't serve us. We're not attaching ourselves to the validation. We're not attaching ourselves to accept it. Like, we're not attaching ourselves to anything other than, this is just what I would love to create just because. And of course we take the action, you know, because we already are it. We already are it. You be it now to see it in the future. You be it now. You be it now to see it. So create it now for your future. See, when you think about it, lots of very successful people, they don't fix themselves. Creators don't have to fix themselves to create massive things and success. They don't. You think of Steve Jobs, Lady Gaga, Michael Jackson, whoever. They've created amazing success. Did they fix themselves? Did they go back and mend all their past ways before they were able to be successful? No. No. So again, what we're wanting to do is to simply be in a structure that allows us to be in flow. That allows us to be in flow. Does anyone have any questions or any shares? I'd love to hear what is landing for you. You can type it as a share, or I can bring you up on the screen as a share. But I'd love to hear what's really landing for you. What's been a beautiful reminder? What's been wow, I never saw it like that. Wow, this is the first time I've even heard it being spoken like that. I would love just to hear what's showing up for you. So raise your hand if you want me to bring you out. Is that you, Michael? You're nodding your head. Am I going to? Yep, cool. Let me add you.
Hey. So let's help me a little bit with your current reality needs to be your desired reality. And of course, Chris has said that over and over and over again. But, it comes back to this, kind of the standard answer, I've got $1 million, I got $1 million, and you don't have $1 million. So how do you mesh those desired reality and current reality so that they're the same? And I guess part of it is, the desired reality is something you don't have. I mean, if objectively you look at it and say, I don't have $1 million, I don't have the relationship, I don't have the health, whatever it happens to be.
Yeah.
So how do you make those the same when the part of the desired reality is not manifested itself yet?
Yeah.
How do you what's the process, or how do you think about that?
Love it. That's a really good question, and I know that's going to help lots of people. So it's actually how you show up. So it's got nothing to, as you say, it's like in your current reality if you don't have it. Also, there's probably a whole nother training in that as well. Like I used $1 million for an example, but our choice isn't going to be I choose the end result of having $1 million. We know that. A choice is having, wealth beyond my wildest dreams, or whatever that is. But it's not the it's how you show up in that. It's like who you be now that is the same as when you're in your end result. For example, if all of us got $1 million in a bank account right now, and I'm sure we'd feel very happy about that, and then it got taken away, would our identity stay the same now to the having the money to not having the money? So if we can be in an identity that's like, you know what, I am happy and I will find happiness in everything that I have in this moment in time, and I simply just want more. I just simply would love to have more money. I just simply would love to travel. Because I feel whole and complete. I'm happy now. I'm satisfied with what I have now. So that's where it is, being it now. And how do I show up? What decisions do I make now that would be the same as the me in my future? Like, how am I being the predominant creator? How am I just communicating with people? How am I making decisions? How am I just going all in? What is it that I'm focusing on now? So you're the same person. It's like, who do you be now that is the same as how you be in the future? Not dictated by the money that's in your bank account or the things that you have or the things that are going on around you in your life that can be distracted by people and the world and whatever. So you show up as the same you now. And I know, like, I'll put my hand up and say, I've certainly had times where I've noticed in myself that I feel more capable relative to the money that I'm creating in business. But that's actually being in an identity of saying, well, I'm not enough unless I have, the acceptance or the validation, or, I'm not enough until I have proof, until I have people coming to my retreat or to my programs. Or so see, those identities are very different. So if I am an identity of I friggin' rock, I'm whole, I'm complete, no matter what the circumstances are, whether people come to my program or not, whether they do this or not, whether I have this or not, like I'm awesome. Like I'm an incredible human being, and I am capable of it all. And all I'm going to do is just be like, well, if I'm not getting the outcome that I desire, I'm not going to make it personal about me. I'm just going to look at what are the things that I'm doing, and then get the feedback from the action that I'm taking, and then just keep on taking that action, as opposed to defining myself relative. If we're defining ourselves relative to anything that we're creating, then we're in an identity that doesn't serve us.
So is it more along the lines of kind of energy, outlook, beliefs, that kind of that kind of thing, rather than the physical object? It's how what would you believe, what was the energy you would have, what would your outlook be?
Yeah.
Is that kind of okay?
Yeah, exactly it. And that is, so how you said it, the energy, the outlook, the focus, is those are the two identities. So you're either focusing and putting energy into, so if you're in an identity that doesn't serve you, so if you're in an identity that's, lack and unsatisfied and all of those things, so when you're in that identity, you're putting the energy and the focus on how you feel incomplete about yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And you're creating from that space, right? And you're resolving the tension because you go outside of that and you resolve the tension to stay in that. When you're in an identity that serves you, and your energy and your focus is just on what you want, just because you want it. And that is it. It's not relevant to anyone's judgment or how you're judging yourself. It's just like, no, I'm just going for it. So yeah, exactly that. Those two identities have different focuses, different energies that we put into them, and create completely different outcomes. And they're two different structures. They're two different structures.
Okay.
Thank you so much for asking that question, because in the questioning gets me to teach it in all sorts of different ways, which means it's going to land for so many different people. So thank you so much. That's just absolutely brilliant. Brilliant. Does anyone else have anything that they want to add before we're going to jump into something that is going to be super awesome? And maybe, again, it might be a little bit of a revision, but this is going to help you with your morning rituals. That's a little bit exciting. Cool. Is everyone, you're good to move on? Move on, thumbs up, ready to rock and roll. Love it. So, doing choices each day effectively and powerfully. This is so important. This is an important, like it's a must. I'm not going to, you're going to hear me talk about this all the time. It is an absolute must. In the world of creation, if you want to create your desired life, you have to do your choices each day. If you don't, it's not about beating yourself up and, oh my God, I can't create. No, it's, you're a powerful creator. We're all human. We have times that, that we don't. We're human. However, don't make that an excuse. Because again, when we're talking about our focus and the power and energy that we put into something, it's like blowing a balloon, isn't it? The more you blow into it, you're putting the power and the energy into it, the more it's going to, the bigger it gets. And this is what I want. I want us all to be in this balloon, this structure of being in flow and creating what it is that we desire. Because the only thing that is in the way of us creating what it is that we desire is ourselves being in an identity that does not serve us. So doing choices each day effectively and powerfully. We can't simply be in the vision and expect our choices to be created. And I have seen this quite a bit. And I've seen it in myself, in the past as well. It's like, get into their vision. And I know that, it is important. We talk about how being in the vision, how it, it conditions our consciousness to say yes to what it is that we want. But I've also realized that we do spend more time actually than what we need being in the vision. So this might be news to some of you, but it's really cool because it creates more space for the action taking. So we must connect to the identity that is whole now and has it all now, okay? That you're happy now, you're satisfied with what it is that you have in life. And it's simply that you just want more. So what it isn't, it's like life will be better when I get the money, the this and that. Then I'll be happy, then I'll be satisfied. No, we show up in the I am satisfied with what I have now. It's not necessarily, it's not your big vision. It's not where you choose to be, but you're happy with it now. I'm so satisfied with it now. I'm complete within myself now. I'm powerful now. And I'm just choosing that this is what it is that I'd love to create. Okay. So when we are doing our choices, whether it's your 4 core orientational choices, if you're at the beginning of your journey, or whether you have true choices yet or not, doesn't matter, whether you have them established or not. So we connect into our identity, that we're whole now, we're satisfied, we connect into our greatness, our genius, and then we connect into our vision from that identity. We be in our desired reality from that identity, and that is important. Who has perhaps found themselves being in the lack and being like, oh, right, do my choices so that I can, so that I can create these things? It's like, no, just pause, be in that identity first. Then be in your vision, in your desired reality. Right? And then we connect to our current reality. And we choose our vision. So our vision is our desired reality. We choose that over our current reality, and then we take action. So vision, which is our desired reality, current reality, choosing your vision over your current reality. So we choose it and we intend it. We intend it. We have positive expectations, because as soon as you fall out of the positive expectations, as soon as you fall out of either anything other than, yeah, this is what I choose and this is what I'm going for, and I know that it's going to be created. As soon as you fall out of that, you're in a structure that will create oscillation or even stuckness for you. So it's just about, like, mastery of this work is simply catching yourself when you're in a structure that doesn't serve you. When you're orientating meaning, for me, I put orientation as to, what it is that you're focusing on. And if we're focusing on how we can't, or why we can't, or how crap life is, or how stuck we are, and what's happening in our current reality, that is where we're going to stay. That is where we're going to stay. So as soon as we're out of being in the vision and choosing it and intending it and just taking the obvious action and doing the things relative to that, we are in a structure that doesn't serve us. It is that simple and that clear. Now, we are human. We are human. So it's not about, if we try and fight our, fight, not trying to fix ourselves or solve anything, we are denying our humanness. It's only about catching, being like, interesting. I can see myself now focusing on this. Let me just reorientate to what actually serves me. What actually serves me. So we're going to do a little bit of an exercise because I'm not going to give away the thing yet, but we're going to do an exercise. In my mind, I'm like, which way am I going to do this? So think of a choice. Think of one of your choices, and so pretend like you're about to go into your normal morning, your morning ritual of doing your choices. And so I'd love for you to go ahead and close your eyes. Close your eyes and maybe just, conditioning your unconscious to be in a state of deep relaxation. We'll do it the way that you would, normally perhaps do it at home or when you're on a call with me. So let's, in your mind or out loud, say unconscious, deep relaxation, and take 3 big deep breaths. Breathing in through the nose, out through the mouth. And again, breathing in. And out. One more time, breathing in. And out. Just acknowledging that you are connecting into your identity at the moment of feeling happy and satisfied with life right now, and then knowing that you're powerful and that you get choice. You get choice. And go ahead and choose your choice. I choose the end result of. And as you choose that choice, allow yourself to be in the vision. See it and feel it. And now I want you to stop and open your eyes. And tell me in the chat box. Tell me in the chat box if you got a clear vision. You don't need to have all like every single part of it, but it was clear. It's like, yeah, this is me in the end result. I had a clear vision. This is what it looked like, and I could feel it in my body. Let me know. Yeah, felt it. Now I want to tell you something. That was 30 seconds. That was 30 seconds. And you know what? That is all you need. That is all you need to be in your desired reality. You know why? Because your consciousness is not stupid. It knows when it gets that vision. I love the look on Kathy's face. She's like, yeah. It knows, it gets the meaning of the end result by that. It knows, it's like, okay, I get the vision, I get the meaning, I get the feeling, I get it. I get it. It knows all the other parts that are associated with that we can spend 2 minutes and 3 minutes. And now I'm not saying to not spend that time, but what I am saying is your unconscious gets it within the first 30 seconds. It gets it. And what I have found, and what, how I'm connecting into this, is if we allow ourselves to do that and bring our morning ritual down, like, we can actually do it in a short period of time. We can do it in 10 minutes. We can do it in a short period of time. We get to be effective and powerful in what it is that we're doing. Okay? Which means that we have more time to then fill in our lenses afterwards, or write things down, or whatever it is. Okay? So I'd love for you to go back and close your eyes. Go back and close your eyes. And just as you've got your eyes closed, I just want to add, add to that, which I think I've said anyway, but it's just, the words and the choices, they have meaning. So it's already indicating to the unconscious of what it is that you want. And then when you add the vision as well in that 30 seconds, and it might even be that you get it in 9. Right? So it puts meaning onto it for your unconscious. And so what I would love for you to do is, being in that space of your desired reality, your vision, connect back into it for a moment, like just connect back into that vision. And then imagining with your eyes closed, like your current reality is in front of you. And just get a picture of, the truth of where you are now. And it might be like a tangible picture. It might be that, your current reality is you're stuck, or you've got beliefs coming up, or whatever, but just notice. And then stop. Again, 30 seconds. You could do it in 20. Who got a clear indication, vision, feeling from the current reality relative to their desired reality? Yes, nice. So you're fleshing it out almost to say, right? It's like, okay, here's my desired reality. This is the vision. This is what it looks like. This is how it feels. Here's my current reality. What does that do? So we're creating this flowing structure, aren't we? Because we're in an identity of being whole now. We're in an identity that serves us, our higher self. We're whole, we're complete, we're satisfied, we're happy. We tune into our desired reality, so we connect into the vision of what that looks like. Then we connect to our current reality. Right? And in this point, we choose. Okay, so I choose my vision. I choose my desired reality over my current reality. I choose it. And as I choose it, I'm embodying myself in my vision, in my desired reality. And I want you to go ahead and close your eyes. And being in your desired reality, being in that vision, seeing your current reality in front of you. You've already acknowledged it. Okay, that's my current reality. It's sitting in front of me. And I want you to ask yourself this question, remembering that you're in your desired reality. You are the you in your desired reality, simply looking at your current reality. And I want you to ask yourself this question: how did I get from there, meaning you're looking at your current reality, how did I get from there to here? How did I get from there to here? What that creates is a bridge. What that creates is a bridge. And just allow yourself for the obvious. How did I get from there to here? Just allow yourself the obvious. And when you get it, it's not about creating, oh, I done this and then I done that and then it's not creating the path. It's just like, what come up for you? How did I get from there to here? What was it that, what was it that I done? And then when you get that, write it down. And then again, I want you to really choose on all levels, all cells in your body, choose that choice. I choose the end result of. So here's what I would love for you all to start doing as a daily practice is, out of all the choices that you're working with. So again, this doesn't matter whether you've just started and you're just working with your forecourt orientational choices, or you have true choices as well as. So when you have true choices, you're still working with your forecourt orientational choices. What I would love for you to do each day is to do this. We'll get it written up. Okay, we'll get it written up so you don't just have to go by your notes. I think it'd be nice to sort of have something actually like a PDF that goes, this is just a beautiful creation that's just evolving that I didn't even think about just until now. So we'll create a PDF for this so that you actually have something to follow. But so for each morning, doing your forecourt orientational choices and true choices if you're working with them, to spend, you only need a minute for each choice. Now the bridge of what we've done, okay, the bridge of what when we set up, when we were in our desired reality, so how do I get my current reality from here to here? Let's just say, for the sake of maths, let's just say that you're working with 14 choices. That's including your forecourt orientational choices. So what we want to be doing is we want to be doing the bridge. Some of you might also know it as a wisdom process, so it's just a different way of kind of doing the wisdom process. You want to be working with 2 choices each day, meaning you're going to drop into the vision of each choice every single day, but with 2 of them you're going to connect into your current reality. You're going to get what's the obvious bridge, and then that becomes your action step. So whatever you got for that choice, that becomes your action step, whether it's a decision that you make, whether it's how you show up, whether it's how you refocus, whether it's actually a tangible action step, is completely irrelevant because it's all action, right? It's all action. So what the bridge does is it contributes to the follow through with the choice and taking action. So see how that then incorporates the structure, because we're not simply current reality, desired reality, and then just being in the vision. We're taking action. We're taking action. So you want to be ensuring that by the week, so let's say, for example, like I said before, if you had 14 choices that you're working with, which is quite a lot, by the way. So, I'm not setting that as a standard, across the board standard that you would be working with, but let's use that math. Is that so each day, there's 7 days in a week. So, if we're good at maths, I don't even know if you have to be that good at maths to work it out either, to be fair, is that each day you're going to do 2 different choices, so that by the end of the week you've covered all the choices with doing that bridge part. Okay, so for the other ones that you're not doing the bridge, you simply get into the end result of that choice in the vision. You acknowledge the current reality of where it is, and then you just go back and choose that choice. I choose it, I intend it, and I have positive expectations. For the other 2, or maybe I think it's always good to do 2 anyway. So it might just mean that if you've got less choices, you just do them more often, and that's okay. But and please don't favor any choices. That is a natural human thing to do, is to favor choices. Oh, well, I feel, I really want to work on the wealth, so I'm going to do that each day. Now tell me, what is that actually? What's the message that you're giving your unconscious? That you're in lack. I've got to fix, like I've got to ensure that I'm doing this one or this business one, or like, please don't favor those choices. Just simply, mix them up, mix them around, so that you're covering, all of them in a similar focus and level. So what do you think, guys and gals? Was that good stuff? Was that good stuff? Love it. Awesome. Good stuff. Great. Yes. Beautiful. Beautiful. Are there any questions? Is there anything that I perhaps didn't explain very well? Any bits that feel a little bit grey? It'd be a great time to ask, because not only will it serve you, it will serve others that are watching the replay as well. Onto it. Beautiful. Beautiful. And again, it's effective and it's powerful. You can think about it in this sense. I'm not saying to not spend longer than 30 seconds. You totally can. You totally can, if that's what you desire. However, it's not actually needed. It doesn't make anything more powerful. It doesn't make anything more powerful. And so if we have perhaps a bit of a challenge with time, or then we can be rest assured that we actually don't need to spend a lot of time to be really effective in doing our choices, and ensuring that we are actually implementing the taking action. Our behavior is a very high form of communication to our consciousness. So without taking action, what is happening? If we're not taking action, then our beliefs that don't serve us, our way of being that doesn't serve us, is what's actually holding the power. And what does that mean? That means that we're not in an identity that serves us. We're in an identity that is holding us, or trying to prove that we're not worthy, that we're not capable, and so on. So good stuff. By the way, some of you may have been on a call where I said that we were changing next week's masterclass to Wednesday. False alarm. Well, changing things. My thing got changed to a different day, so it actually will be on Thursday. So sorry for any confusion. We're keeping everything on my Thursday masterclass and Chats and Connection. Everything will just be running as per usual next week. We have those that are in a circle, we have our in a circle tomorrow. I'm really excited about that. That's going to be infused by some of my experiences from the safari, and very much about triggers and staying in our own energy. And yeah, it's going to be very, very powerful. So beautiful. So I'm going to finish off those notes later on this afternoon when I'm sitting at the hairdresser to get my hair done, because there's a few little wee executive highlights that are naturally just progressing up there. So we might just we might just settle them down a little bit with some more color. Not to hide them, but I just get some lights in there. All right, beautiful humans, love you all. If you need any help, please know that you can reach out to Joe in school, or you can email us, or if I'm coaching you one-on-one, then you can reach out to me directly. But yeah, please stay in your flow structure, your creative structure, and being in an orientation that really serves you. So thanks for all the beautiful questions. If you have any questions relative to what I've gone over, this is actually just another creation that's just popping into my brain now, so I'm pleased that Joe's here. We will, in the replays, we might actually just we'll pop the document in there as well, so that you can type in a question, and all questions get answered on my Tuesday at our Q&A. So please ensure that that you serve yourself at the greatest of good by asking the questions, because again, if we have questions and we're not asking them, what does that mean? We're showing up in an identity that doesn't serve us. We're worried about what people might think, or is it a silly question, and all those things that play up in our mind. However, there's no such thing as a silly question. It doesn't matter how many times you've heard it, how long you've been in this work for. If you need clarification, or you need to hear it in a different way, then I'm only too happy to support. Love you all, and I think everyone I might see on Chats and Connections soon if I'm lucky. Right, talk soon. Bye.